Good afternoon. Welcome to Wood Chip Woodworking. Today we're going to do something a little different. It's Easter weekend. Yesterday was Good Friday, and our pastor at church, Grace Polaris Church here in Columbus, talked about the nail that was used to nail Jesus to the cross. And it got me thinking about things and his whole sermon talked about he was pierced for our indiscretions, our sins. And it got me thinking about things and just the nail. So what I thought I'd do is I would make a cross as a gift out of some boards in the shape of a nail to represent two nails and go that route. So welcome to Wood Chip Woodworking. My name is Paul Courtwright. Please feel free to share, subscribe, like, and let's get this channel to grow. So all that being said, let's get started on our project. Oh, just digress here a little bit. If you're interested in hearing the sermon, which it was amazing, really got me thinking about things, my life, what he went through hanging on the cross, being crucified on a cross was an act of humiliation, if you want to call it that. It was the worst torture that anybody could go through. So it really got me thinking about what it means to be crucified on a cross. So that being said, if you're interested in the sermon, which I highly recommend viewing it, go to gracepolaris.org and look up sermons, Good Friday, and that sermon should be on there. It's well worth the time and effort to see it. So just put that out there and go from there. All right, let's get started on our project. Like I said, today we're going to make a cross for Good Friday, and this one's going to be in form of a nail. So hang tight. All right, so I got my boards here. These are reclaimed 2x6s, 2x8s maybe, 2x6s. And this has got a nail here. We're going to work around that. And then there's a nail on the other one. We're going to work around that one as well. So let's kind of lay out what we're going to do, and we'll do some cutting on the bandsaw and go from there. So this is going to be my upright, and then this piece will go across the top. So in a sense, what I want to do, I want to lay out what it is, how we're going to do this. So this would be, and I'm not an artist, so I'm going to rough this out and sketch it out. This would be the top of the nail. And if you think about the old nails that they used back in the day, they weren't anything like the ones that we have today. You know, they were more square nails type things. And so I'm just going to rough this out into a general shape. So find a center down here. You know what? Hang tight. I got a tool that I really like using. So let's hang tight. All right. So this tool here is a centering finding ruler here. I got it from Grizzly. This is a pretty neat little tool. Basically, to do this, you lay it on the board, and you say, okay, I'm at 2 3/4 here, 2 3/4 here. There's my center mark. So let's just mark that real quick for the top. And I'm going to come down here, 2 3/4, 2 3/4, there. And I'll do the same down here. And right there is my center mark. Okay, now get you down there closer so you can see what exactly we're doing. So if you look at this, I go in here and I find 2 3/4 right there, and I go on this side, and it's 2 3/4 right there, and my center mark would be right there. So if you come this way an inch, that way an inch, and it goes back and forth, and that's how you find the center of a board. Real quick, easy way to do it. I got these 3 of them from grizzly.com. A great little tool. I enjoyed finding them and using them, and then we'll go from there. All right, so let's get a mark in there to figure out where we're at. So same thing I'm going to do here is find a center up here. Okay, it is about the same. And that would be the center mark. So I'm going to come from the center over. I'm going to come over about inch and I'm going to come over about 1.5 inches for starters on both sides. And then down there's the center, and I want to make this down here roughly 1 inch thick down here. So I'm going to go over 1/2 inch from the center. Get a longer ruler and we'll lay it out as far as measuring it. So put that mark to there, to there. These don't have to be exact. Do the same thing over here to there. And that would be basically our nail. So it'll go something like that. I think that looks good. It's just a little thick up here is what I'm looking at. I might cut that down to 3/4 inch. So let's remeasure it and remark it. Let's try this again. Oh, 1.5 inches. Let's go down to, say, 1 inch. Let's go down 1 inch instead of that. We're going to leave the same down there. I'm just going to lay it out and see what looks right. See if that looks right before we get to cutting, so we know what we got. And what if that looks better? So that's what I'm looking at. Let's put a black mark on it so you can see. I think that looks better. So head, I'm going to say this is like this. Straight down there like so. Same thing with this one. And this doesn't have to be exact, because we're going to cut away a lot of that. So I think that looks pretty good like that. Yeah, I think that looks all right. So we're going to cut this out. Yeah, that'll go on top of that. So we want to do the same thing on the bottom, the other piece here. So, okay, there's our bad spot. So we're going to use this as our head. Do the same thing. Kind of just roughing it in with my marker here to get an idea. Okay, now we find our center again. 2 3/4, 2 3/4. So there's our center mark. Go down through here and find the center on this. Same principle. 3/4, 3/4 right there. One down here at the very bottom. Right there. And then we want to go over, this was over 1/2 inch on each side, so we want to do the same thing here. And then we want to come up here, and this was 1 inch over from the center. So we want to do the same thing there and there. Okay, take my long straight edge, put it on that mark, do that side, put one on this side, same thing. All right, we're going to darken it in so we see our lines. Use a black marker. And they don't have to be exact because we're going to do a lot of sanding on these. Okay, so that kind of takes that. I think that'll work. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the bandsaw. We're going to rough this out, cut this rough shape out, and then we'll lay some pieces out to go across the side, figure out where our center part cross piece is, and then we got to do some cutting, sanding, things of that nature. So hang tight. All right, so we're at our bandsaw here, and we're going to take and cut this out. So I'm going to get rid of my fence here. Get that out of the way. And we're going to plenty of room to cut with. So we're going to cut in this part right here and here, and then we'll cut that. So let's get to cutting. Now we'll just cut up through here and cut these pieces off. All right, there's our scrap pieces there. And there's the start of our nail right there. So we need to do is round these edges off. So I'm going to cut them real quick. And then we'll go get the nail done. Okay, so that's kind of our nail right there. I think it looks pretty good for a starter. And let's do our other one, get that one done. So I'm going to do the same thing, cut this up. This down here. One piece. All right, we got our pieces cut. So there's the other one. Let's go back over to the bench and we'll lay out some more pieces here. All right, so we're back at the bench and this is going to go something like this. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to kind of think about the general shape. This being tapered like it is, I need to lay it out. Oh, I didn't do this. Let me cut the top of that off. Get that kind of rounded off a little bit, and I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I got ahead of myself. So anyway, this is going to go up on top of that, something like that. And I want to find the center part of this. So my centering ruler is not quite long enough. Let me grab the other one. Sorry about that. I thought I had 3 long ones or longer one than that. It's actually, that's my longest one there, and then I got a shorter one. So we have to do it the old-fashioned way. What I want to do is get the overall length, which is 24 inches. So 24 inches, then that would mean that that's 12 inches. So we mark that at 12. That's going to be my center right there. This one here just happens to be 30 inches, so that would be 15. So, but we don't want this piece in the center, because that wouldn't look like way down there. We want it way up here. And I'm thinking we want to go over just a hair anyway on that. But let's say if I was to put it here, kind of doing this on a fly, I don't really have a pattern. Yeah, that would work right there. So let's do it about 22 on that. Okay, so 22. And let's look at this here. I don't know if I want that in the center because that looks heavy on that end. So I'm going to bring it in probably about like that. So we're going to put a mark like right here and a mark right there. Okay, and we're going to put like that. All right, so there's my marks of where this is going to go, like that right there. Before we get to doing that, we need to shape this a little bit. Trying to think of easiest way to do this. I'm thinking I'm going to come over to the bandsaw and just cut straight up here. So let's mark that out as far as an angle. Okay, get the center on this. And this is a, okay, yeah. So 3/4 would give me the center mark. And I want this flush on this side, so I want to bring this side down to here. So I'm going to come down to that. So I got some thickness, so I'm going to go from there to the center mark there. So I'm going to lay that right there and put that kind of like that. So if I cut that out, that would work. But I think I might come down just a hair, so give this a little bit more up here. So I might drop that down. Yeah, let's do that. So I want my center mark to be just down here instead. Okay, and I'm going to come down, let's just say if I come down a 1/4 inch. All right, all right there, 1/4 inch down from there. I'll put my long ruler there to there. And I'll put a mark. Yeah. That looks better. All right, so let me go over to the bandsaw and we'll cut that off and I'll show you how to do that. Hang tight. Here we go. So I'm going to set this up here and I'm just going to slowly come through there and cut her. So here we go. Sure I got my right line. I guess first thing I need to do is I need to cut into that. So just going to cut, leave me a little bit of room. There. Now I'll go back to cutting that. Well, that piece will fall off. And there would be that. So that looks good. Okay, we'll shape that with a sander. So let's go back and lay the other one out and do the same thing. So hang tight. All right, so flip her up on her end here. And we come down about 1/4 of an inch. So we're going to go in 1/4 of an inch. This really doesn't matter. Let's get rid of this side. Yeah. So we're going to come in 1/4 of an inch. We'll cut that off. And then down here, this was 1/2 inch thick on the bottom. So this is our back. So we're going to come in 1/2 inch from here. Take my long ruler, measure from here to here. All right. And we'll go over, we'll cut that piece off. So hang tight. All righty, here we go. So again, I want to cut this piece right there. Now we'll lay this up there and cut this off. All right, that's what she looks like. So far, it looks like a nail. Let's go back over to the bin. All right, so that's what that looks like. So now, we got to put this on here. And I think the center part of this was 12 inches. And I think I want to go this way just a hair on that. So if I go 12 inches like that, that would work. Okay. Now we're going to come down 1/3 of the way here, 30 inches. We would come down roughly 10 inches, which is where we're at right now. So we're going to put that right there, there. And I'm going to draw a line underneath. Yeah. So I got my line underneath and that line, and that would be that. Okay. So now this thickness here is right there where that's at is 7/8 of an inch, and the top of it's 1 inch. So I want to go down halfway. So once again, I'm using my center finder here. So half inch right there. Oh, right there's my mark. Lining up with the mark over here. I say a half inch, and I'll put that line right there. And this was 7/8, so it would be 5/16 or 7/16. Center mark there. And I want to cut down on that. Let me grab my square and cut down on this edge here. So I'm going to mark that like that and like that. I'm going to come up I'm going to go half inch. So the back of it's half inch. Actually, yeah. Okay. So I'm going to cut that portion out. Now comes the fun part is because my bandsaw, if you look at this, when I set it up on the bandsaw, it will not be level. So what I got to do is I got to figure out a way to cut this here and that without touching too far. Okay, so that's got to be level like that. Yeah. All right, so let's do that. Let's mark the other one the same way. Well, let's cut this one first. So let me go over and cut this out and we'll see what we get. All right, so what I'm going to do, and I know it's not going to be perfect, if I cut right on that edge, I'll just make a quick cut and I'll show you what I'm talking about because of that angle. As you can see, if this is cutting in a 90-degree, I'm off that much, which is not a big deal, but I want to cut this side over here. So let me grab a pencil and I'll mark that. And we'll cut that one. I'll do the same thing this way. Oh, this way it's going to come out right. Yeah. So what I want to do is mark the top part of that first. So let me mark that and I'll be right back. Alright, so we just marked the top so I know how far down I'm going to go. If I just do this, now, All right, let's lay it out there and see where we're at. Be right back. All right, so as you can see, we're going to have to do a little hand cutting to get that down in there right like that. But so far that's it. So let's go over to the bench and we'll see what we can do. All right, so we need to cut this off here. That didn't take much. And we need to trim this off. And clean that up just a little bit more. There we are. Now, this is going to lay in there like so. Okay, so I just need to trim off that little edge. It's not going to take much. Been a long time since I've used a mallet and a chisel. Gotten spoiled over the years of using power tools. Let's see how close we are. See how close we are. Ooh, real close. I like the way it's coming. Take a little bit more off here. All right, see if she fits. Oh, look at that. It's real close. I mean, I could go up above it, but I want it to fit there. Yeah, I think I'll come off. No, actually, my marks are right there, and that would fit. Okay. Clean up that edge, and we'll be all set. All right. All right. Okay. So that would be the one part of it. So this will go on top of here, like so. And that fits pretty good. Fits in there nice and neat. Okay, so now I need to cut this one down that way. So what I want to do is take my pencil and mark there to there. Okay, So that's where I want to cut like that there. And then we'll set it up on top there. So let me go cut that out real quick, and we'll come back and do it some more. All right, so what I did was I recut that down into there, and so that fits in there like so. So now there's our cross. So now we got to do some shaping on here, and I realize that this was supposed to be the back. Just realized that. So I messed up on that part, but it's still fixable. It's still fixable because this was supposed to be the back of my piece. I got it flipped over because I'm going to shape the top. But let's fix that and we'll be good. All right, so now let's go through and let's do some sanding, cleaning it up. And I want to recut this top part here. So hang tight. All right, so all I did was cut that flat right there so it lays flat on the wall like so, which is perfect. So now all I got to do is shape the tops and that, clean her up, sander, and I think we're in good shape. All right, so let's lay out the head on this and how we're going to do this. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to kind of round this over, sand this up to that point, make that flat. Might need to do the same thing on that one, make it flat right off top. So, all right, let's go over to the sander and see what we can get into. So we're at our sander here. What we're going to do is we're going to shape this. Just going to take and round this over, get it kind of squared up, and go from there. Hang tight, I got a trick I want to show you. All right, so basically what I want to do is I want to kind of chamfer this edge to a line, and I need a mark that I want to do it. So I lay my pencil up here, and I just draw a line, keeping it flat all the way around, like so. Do the same thing over here. And this doesn't have to be perfect, but it gives you a line, a reference line to work with. Okay, so I got, as you can see, I got a mark all the way around. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sand that and shape that edge to do that. So let's try that. And then basically I want to do is sand from here back. Probably use my belt sander here to do that. Push this one back just a hair out of the way. All right, you can see it's going to be a tough one to do. I'm going to go through and I'm going to sand that. And, don't think you really want to watch me do some sanding, so hang tight. I'll be right back. All right, well, it took me a few minutes to do that, but I got her pretty well sanded the way I like. We'll do a little hand sanding on it, and we'll go from there, but I'll finish the other one and we'll be right back. Okay, so we got her sanded down. Now the next thing I want to do is do some hand sanding on it, clean it up, and go from there. So I'll be right back when we'll do some hand sanding. All right, so let's do some hand sanding on it now, and then we'll glue it up and we should be done. So I got my sander here, 120, and we're just going to do some hand sanding on it. Here we go. Put your dust mask on and go from there. All right, so that's basically what I'm going to be doing here for a few minutes. I'll do some sanding and clean up. This piece is pretty close to being done. We'll get her done. All right, so hang tight. All right, so we got her sanded pretty well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and glue it together. And I'm going to do a little bit more sanding on this and get that done, and then we'll burn it, put a finish on it. So basically what I'm going to do, get some paper underneath it. Put some CA glue on this. This is thick CA glue for what it's going to do. Put some fair amount on it. And I'll spray the activator on the top. And once that's put in there like that, that'll hold it for a second, and it should be good. We're gonna, just for sake of doing it, we're gonna put a screw in the back side just to be safe. So hang tight and we'll put a screw in the back side. All right, so it's been sitting there for a couple minutes, and now we'll put a screw in the back. I'm gonna drill a pilot hole. And got me a little short screw here. Make sure it didn't go all the way through. That wouldn't be good. There. Okay. And that just secure that in there. That's all we really need. Since I'm here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure, and I'm going to put 2 keyhole slots, one on each side. So I want to come in about 4 inches, find my pencil, wherever it might be, wherever my pencil may be. Hang tight, I got to find my pencil. All right, so we're going to come in about 4 inches on this side, and let's make it, yeah, 4 inches here. And we're going to come in, oh, we're going to actually come in 5 inches over here. And maybe I need to come in 5 inches over here on this side. Because if I put it in the center here, it'd want to hang crooked. I don't know if you can see that or not. So if I put it in the center over here, it's going to hang crooked like that. So I want to put it on the side. And I'll show you how we're going to do that keyhole slot. So I'll make sure I got my marks here. 5 inches. 5 inches. We're good there. And I want to make sure that I don't go too far above. So there's that, and I'll start right about there. So right there. And how far did I come up? We'll come up just a hair more. And we'll go down about right there. All right, so hang tight. Let me get my router out and I'll show you how I make a keyhole slot. All right, make a keyhole slot. I'm going to cut it in there. What I found out was that if I turn it around and go this way and do the back side, the bottom side first, and then come forward, it works better. So here we go. You gotta be careful you don't go all the way through. So. All right, and there's our keyhole slot, as you can see. All right, so that takes care of that. Let's get my router out of the way. Well, all right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit more sanding on this, smooth this out, clean that up, and we'll be in good shape. So get the dust mask back on, and we will be about done with this project. All right, so that takes care of that. So hang tight. All right, so right now what we're going to do is we got all the sanding done. We're going to torch it. So I'll get you around here where you can see what I'm doing. And basically, this will give it a even color. I'm just going to torch it nice and just kind of gentle like. To give it an even color. And if you're going to do this, always have a fire extinguisher close by that you can use. All right, I want to continue to torch it and then I'll be right back. So hang tight. All right, so there we are. We finally got her done. I think it looks pretty good. Let's get you up there where you can see it. I think it looks pretty good. Torched it and it come out pretty even. I'll steel wool a little bit and put a coat of polyurethane on it, and we'll call it a day on this one. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. I think it looks pretty good. That'll look good hanging on the wall. You know, there again, let me get you around here where you can see me. So please feel free to share, subscribe, and like. You know, I think this turned out pretty well, if I have to say so. I think it'll make a nice little gift. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Please feel free to share, subscribe, like, and let's get this channel to grow. And leave some comments below in the comment section, and we'll go from there. So again, this is Easter weekend. Had Good Friday service yesterday, and we talked about the nail. And I thought this kind of intrigued me to do a cross like this. So hopefully check out the Grace Brethren Polaris website, and you'll see the podcast of that sermon yesterday. So got any questions, give me a call or send me an email, I guess I should say. Leave some comments on the bottom, and we'll go from there. Thank you, and have a good night. Talk to you soon.